Okay, now that we've finished section 1 and section 2 of the listening, let's have a look at section 3. Before we listen, I'm going to tell you about some strategies and skills that you need to use during the listening section of the IELTS exam. Make sure to practice these at home before you go to the exam. And again, these are skills which you should use while you are doing the exam. So this is skills for listening section. During the exam. So for these skills, we're going to look at section 3 of test 1 that we're working with. So in your curriculum book, this is going to be from page 86 until page 87. So have a look at that while I'm giving you these skills. The first and most important step while you're in the exam is make sure to pay attention to the instructions of each question. So it's really important that you're familiar with the different kinds of instructions. In the listening section, there are many different types of questions, multiple choice, fill in the blanks, matching terms, and so on. So you have to be familiar with the instructions. Some questions ask you to use one word only. Others ask you to use 2 words, and some ask you to use maximum 3 words. Also, sometimes the questions say answer using 2 words and or a number. So when the question asks for this, make sure that you use a number instead of the word when you can. So these can easily save you some marks, and it's faster, just more simple to write down. So pay close attention to instructions. Now, if the instructions say use a maximum of 2 words, that usually means that at least some of the answers will be 2 words. So be very careful about that. Usually 2-word answers mean that there will be a noun with an adjective, or there will be 2 parts to a name. So make sure that you get those 2 words, okay? Just remember that. So 2 or 3 word answers are usually adjectives and nouns. Now, the second point to be very careful about when you're doing the listening is the timing of the answers. So in section 1 of the listening, the answers usually are very simple and usually come very quickly. So in section 1, you often hear an answer almost every sentence that the speakers say. Now, when you get into section 2, it usually slows down a little bit. And by section 3 and 4, very often you have to listen to 2, 3, 4 sentences before you hear the correct answer for the question. So what this means is that it's very important for you to be patient. So remember again that in section 1, answers come fairly quickly and they're fairly simple. And this gets slower and slower, so by section 3 and 4, answers come every 3, 4 sentences, so be patient, okay? So, listening section 1, answers come quickly, and for sections 2, 3, And 4, you must listen to 2 or more sentences before you hear the answer. So especially for sections 3 and 4, be patient, okay? So be patient during section 3 and 4. All right. This is again why practice at home is really important. So when you do a few IELTS practice exams at home, then you're going to feel the difference between the timing of answers in sections 1 versus sections 3 and 4. So again, practice at home is really important. All right, so pay attention to these 2 strategies while you're doing the test. Now, there are a couple more that we're going to discuss before we go ahead and use these in answering the section 3 questions. So let's have a look at a couple more. Okay, so a third important point to pay attention to during the listening section is, of course, spelling. So in the IELTS exam, spelling is important during the listening and reading section. So be very careful about that. Now, there are a few things that you can do to make sure that your spelling improves and that you're using correct spelling during the exam. One of the things is, before the exam, it's a good idea to practice your spelling, and there are a lot of tools that you can use to help with this. There are different kinds of spelling games. A lot of companies now make applications for iPhone and for Android systems so that you can download these spelling games onto your smartphone and then play with those when you have time to improve your spelling. So during the test, make sure you pay attention to your spelling. Now, this doesn't mean that when you're listening you should really worry about wrong spelling as you're listening to the answers. This is not good, because then you will miss the next answer. Instead, if you hear a long word, you're not sure about the spelling, just write it down as best as you can, and you can worry about the spelling later when you're transferring your answers to your answer sheet. Remember, you're going to have 10 minutes at the end of section 4 to take your answers and put them into the answer booklet. So you can see the answer booklet at the end of this example test in the curriculum book, and you can see how you can transfer those. So that's why this answer sheet is included, so you can practice transferring your answers from the test paper into the answer paper, and that's when you really want to pay attention to your spelling. So pay attention to your spelling. Again, remember, use spelling games, which are often apps on smartphones, to improve your spelling. Okay? Now, again, what you want to pay special attention to is the spelling of long words when you're transferring your answers. So, number 4, in the 10-minute transfer time, check the spelling of longer words. So pay special attention to vowels. Of course, the 5 vowel sounds in English are A, E, I, O, U, and often students make spelling mistakes with these vowel sounds, the A, E, I, O, U. One technique that can help you to sometimes figure out a potential mistake in your vowel sounds is to kind of say the word inside of your head, or even put your hand in front of your mouth and just say it into your hand. So for example, let's say that you're trying to figure out how to spell the word book. So you can say book, book, and then you realize that it must be a long U sound coming from the double O. So you can cover your mouth and go book, and that can sometimes help you to figure out the correct vowel letters that are required by the words. In English, if you have the wrong vowel, so if you have an E instead of I or an O instead of U, in many situations it will change the meaning of a word, okay? So for example, hat is spelled H-A-T. If you write hut, H-U-T, it's going to be a different word. So just be careful about those vowel sounds. And we'll make a special note about that. Now, also when you're transferring your answers to your answer sheet, pay attention to your answers. So look at the original question and check it with your answer. 10 minutes is a lot of time to transfer answers. Don't just copy without thinking, but use this valuable 10 minutes to have a second look at the questions and answers, just to make sure that you didn't make some kind of silly mistake, okay? So again, pay special attention to vowels, which means A, E, I, O, U, okay? So A, E, I, O, U. All right, so again, review the skills that you need to use during the test, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. After you've reviewed these a little bit, then listen to section 3. Let's do that right now, and let's use these skills to answer the questions for section 3, and then at the end you're going to see the answer key and the transcripts so you can check your answers and see how well you did. So let's do that now.
Now turn to section 3. Take some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Listening section 3. You will hear a student and her professor talking about their class. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Come in, Laura.
Thanks a lot for making the time to see me, Professor Gorman. As I mentioned in my email, I've been very ill this past week, and missing the first week of school is not a good way to start the term.
Indeed, it's not a very good start at all, but I think you can overcome it. You had a good grade in my course last term, and I'm sure this absence is just a bump in the road as far as this term goes. Now, what would you like to discuss?
Well, I don't even have a syllabus, so maybe you could give me one and then we could go over it in some detail.
Yes, that would be sensible. Let me grab your syllabus. Here you go. As you see, the class meets each Monday and Thursday from 10 to 11:30 in room A313 of the Juliet building. Do you know where that is?
Yes, the Juliet building is right next to the Student Union building, correct?
Yes, that's right. Okay, so next are my office hours. I hold them each Monday and Wednesday from 2:30 to 4 in the afternoon. If these do not work for you, feel free to send me an email and we can make arrangements to meet at another time. Now, let's discuss the books you'll need. As you see on the syllabus, there are 2 books you'll need for this course. You need not purchase either of them, however, as there are several copies of each available in the library.
I like keeping my books for future reference, so I would prefer to buy both books. Are they available in the bookshop?
The first one is, but the second one must be purchased from Buster's Books. Do you know where Buster's Books is located?
Roughly, but do you have an address?
Yes. The address is 3419 Young Street in Brighton.
Right, I know where that is. Do you know how much the books cost, approximately?
I think the one at the university bookshop is about £20 and the one at Buster's is about £15. So that's a total of £35 for the two of them.
You now have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 27 to 30.
Great. Can we talk a little about the coursework required?
Of course. There are 2 essays, 1 midterm exam and 1 final exam.
Wow, that's a lot of coursework.
Yes, but at this level I don't believe in just having 1 essay or 1 final exam determine your entire mark in a class. I like arranging it so that a student can have a chance to reflect on their ability and understanding of materials throughout the term.
That makes sense. So, what are the percentages associated with each assignment and exam?
The first essay is worth 15%, the second is worth 25%, the midterm exam is worth 20%, and the final exam is worth 40%. Would you like to talk about the first essay? It is due next Friday.
Yes, could we?
Of course. The essay should be approximately 1,500 words and the topic must be chosen from the list.
And can I get a copy of the list?
There is one attached to your syllabus.
Right. So, do we have to tell you what topic we are writing on beforehand?
No, it's all right. You only have to notify me if you want to do a topic that is not on the list.
Right. Is the essay due in class or can we submit it by email?
I will accept essays without penalty until midnight after the class it's due. So yes, you can submit it by email, hand it in during class or submit it to the department office. If you submit it to the office, make sure to get a timestamp put on it so that I can be sure the paper was submitted on time. And also, be sure to make...
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
This lesson and materials was taken from AE Help's IELTS test preparation material. To see more videos like this and use interactive materials for the IELTS, visit us at www.aehelp.com and let us help you quickly improve your score for the IELTS exam.